Let's say you go outside and all you want to do is focus on your podcast. Can you? Not really. I mean, sure, you could pretend that you're listening to some music or a podcast, but it doesn't work that way. Your brain is wired to the system to analyze the environment and people's faces, such as their expression, emotions, their beauty, and it starts comparing itself to those people so that maybe in the process you feel safer or you feel superior because you're better than them. But the outcome isn't guaranteed. It doesn't always give you dopamine hit. You might feel inferior as well. So what's the point? Your mind doesn't ask for permission because you have to understand the point of life. Your mind is always trying to trick you. In fact, it's doing its best to keep you trapped. Let's say now you're analyzing people's faces and you keep staring at them for a few seconds. But obviously you can't stare at them too long. You're not a weirdo. So you look away. What happens when you look away? You start the process. Needless to say, it's useless because you can't focus linearly. And it's smart to ask, do you really have free will? I doubt so. You don't. Or maybe not even in the way people think. Because what I believe free will is, it's a distraction. You could argue with that. But I would frankly say it's a distraction to keep the system alive, to pretend that everything is fine. Imagine being born in a different time. Imagine being born around 10,000 BC. You wake up, you go out and hunt, and you live in a small group of people where you're socializing. But today, it means different thing. So what it used to mean free will back then doesn't mean the same thing right now. Do you think these people had the same free will as I do have now? So if free will means different things in completely different eras, then is that really free will? What kind of free will that is? It's like asking, do you have the free will to go hunting right now? Technically, maybe yes, but your mind has shaped certain boundaries that you are not willingly to escape, and you cannot disobey your brain. It could be for personal reasons, values, or your environment and your culture. So everything can influence you. You do not actually have free will. You think you do, and you're so weak that you cannot control the process. Then you might ask, can you really control it? If you are an intelligent person, you might to some degree. If you have worked your ass off, you understand the reality and you ask certain questions. And asking those certain questions will help you to understand the world better and improve your habits and impulses and make the right decision. And if you're not intelligent and you like the world as it is, then you cannot do much about it. I might be wrong, but you might be spiraling downward. So it's interesting to know that there is a war beneath the surface. Everything you do is a part of the war. And your brain has already decided what to do. And it has already decided whether you lose or win. And a lot of people try to convince you that there is no conflict at all. Everything is shiny and perfect, fine, and everything is harmless, including people. Then I think it's hard to believe that everyone is just cool, funny, and relaxed. You don't get it. It's all part of this war. Charm and kindness are the most influential tactic you can use in this war. You cannot always be kind to still get things. You might have seen certain evidence of it. Nobody's always giving your favor back. You cannot always be kind in a relationship to get things you want. not in a relationship, but with your friends. We cannot even have a relationship in this era with all these things going on. So yeah, I'm pessimistic. I wouldn't say that, but I have to be, just as I'm right now. And I have no choice but to explain it to you because that's the reality. I don't want to fool myself, and you cannot ignore it. Neither do I. And I don't want to be kind always, keep being nice to people, and then get fucked while people walking all over you. What's the result? What's the outcome? Polygamous relationships, women sleeping with whomever they want, and then all of them get destroyed at the end, whether woman or man. It doesn't matter. The gender doesn't matter at this point because you are destroying yourself and your identity. You're all going downward. Yeah, you could argue that top 1%, they can get all things they want, but they are not the problem. You are. If we are all superior, then you cannot call yourself the top 10%. Because it's now 100%. But let's look at the other end of the spectrum, where people aren't polite, charming, let's say, as it is right now. They all argue all the time. There is a conflict, whether they are forcing a point on you. That in itself is a part of the war. People aren't docile. You need to pin that up in your brain. You like to believe that people are harmless and cool and kind. I mean, they are. They should be, otherwise they're not human anymore. But you have to see that relationships are transactional. So when someone keeps taking away your time, you could argue, is that really kindness? Or is it the cause of the system that makes them kind? That's a very good take on it. And people would say, why you're not being funny and cool and charming? I mean, they wouldn't say it, but you can see in their faces that are screaming at you to be useless just as like them. But don't forget, that's again part of the war. If you are smart enough to see that and keep honing your skills into something meaningful, the system doesn't want you anymore. You're at the top. And right now, society is not at its best where kindness operates. It's off. Then I want you to be on different path where the system actually gives you some outcome. Even though it hurts, even though it's tough, this is still some valuable outcome. Why do you think I go to the gym? It isn't because I like hurting myself. I like it because it has certain outcomes. It shows that I'm disciplined and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to not be part of this facade. And the fact is, you have to adapt to the system all the time. You cannot feel shiny and glorious. You have to adapt to the system. You cannot do whatever you want. You cannot do things because they are cool, like people have been doing for decades back then. Is socializing cool? I don't think so with this population. I mean, sure, people would value socializing, but you have to ask some certain questions. With this overwhelming population, you think kindness and socializing works? You need it at some point, but not to some extent. And there is nothing cool about this hyper-productive society and fast-consuming social media. So at least achieve something. So I'm not telling you to stop watching bullshit, but what I'm actually telling you is to stop watching bullshit and do something meaningful. Therefore, you have some certain outcomes that you can get permanent dopamine hits that gives you profitable return, not temporary one.